Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Shadowrun Dragonfall Director's Cut with me, Allshouse Gaming. In the previous episode, we continued our battle across the main grounds of the Harfeld Manor, then made our way down into the labs, back to where all of this began. Now, as you can see from the cameras, there are going to be people in this room. Obviously, they're going to have it guarded. For obvious reasons, don't approach from the front, because then they're just going to get into cover. Better off going in from the side. Now, the device we've got here can be used to call drones to different locations. One of which is this facility over here, storage room. They will self-destruct after a while, so I'm going to hold off on using it because I don't want them destroyed before they reach their destination. So yeah, I'm gonna head on in here and take care of this. Also, I have made a decision on what the next Let's Play is gonna be. Came down to a coin toss. Funny thing is, I actually checked it this morning. See, oh, there's 11 votes. A decision has been made. It's like, nope. Somebody voted for something that was pretty much out of the running by this point. Anyways, moving on. Got 3 people to deal with. One that I believe is probably a mage, who is going to idiotically leave himself exposed over there, so whatever. Yep, Vanguard Mage. Of course, we're going to full auto him. 95% chance. Why wouldn't we take that? Idiot. Okay, 66% chance, but I gotta start shredding armor. Boom. Iger, let's get you in over here. Full auto him. Oof. I was hoping that would finish him off. But of course it didn't. That guy, yeah, he's a grenadier. So, not a good idea to place our guys too close to each other like I have with Glory and Iger. You know what? I'm just gonna send Max in to attack. No way I'm gonna finish this guy off. Hell, I'm not even gonna hit him. Seriously? I still do not get how it determines whether or not somebody is flanked. Because this does not look like it's flanking cover. But whatever. Okay, let's see. I can hit those guys, so I think I'm going to switch over to my grenade launcher for this. Okay, take 2. Really? Well, at least I got one of them. Okay, first and foremost, use heal. Take care of Talia's wounds. Then, I think, go for the combo on the Grenadier. Try to knock him out. Good. Then use Eviscerate on this guy to shred his armor. Or not. Well, at least hit him to get him out of cover. Iger. Full auto him. That'll take him down. And then let's get you moved over here. Dang it. Alright, Blitz, you get over here. And start shooting the Grenadier. Okay, Grenadiers down. That just leaves the security, whom shouldn't be a problem. Now with how horribly he's positioned himself to get a full auto blast from Iger. Okay, that's that. Head on through here. Oh, wait, there's a computer we can mess with. Let's see, error, yeah, admin access granted, press a key. Boots itself, administrative inbox. Message, Borchardt Hans. To admin, we need to organize an all-staff meeting to discuss lab safety. Everyone is overworked and overstressed, and that's a perfect recipe for workplace accidents. I am telling you, we cannot afford any more accidents. The loss of Van Wijik, that's how you pronounce it, Wijik, who knows, has been hard on everyone. He was well liked, and watching him die in such a horrible fashion has been hard on morale. The staff is committed to the cause, they all know what they signed up for, and they know how important this is. Losing such a good man because of such basic lapses in lab safety has been a difficult pill to swallow. Borchardt. Falkenrath Adolf. Ew. That's an unfortunate name. I am writing this to request additional security for the animal testing lab. You know how large and vicious these creatures can be. Without more trained handlers on staff, we're just begging for another accident. You remember what happened to Van Wijik. I'd also like to repeat my request that the animals be defanged, declawed, and muzzled. Preferably somewhere far away from the lab, or having to use them is unavoidable due to their genetic similarity to our targets, but that doesn't mean that we can't take precautions, Falkenrath. See, Denoif Ingrid. I just wanted to thank you for pushing to bring the new Hermetic lab online. It's good to know that you're listening to our request. The research that the Hermetic researchers have been doing should make our work with Panacea much more manageable than Newer. Not much to learn there except the fact that there are some deadly animals. Now I'm willing to bet there's going to be more people in here. Nope, just a couple of drones. No, the extra set is over here. Well, in that case... Ooh, was it weapon storage or general storage? Let's break a wall into the storeroom. Summon them to weapon storage. Drones deployed, security self-destruct active. And that gets us 2 karma. Yeah, so we could have done it. Wasn't sure how it was going to work because I've never done it before. And there we go. After the drone's sudden explosion, a message appears on the drone's control box screens. Available drones 0. No more drones to display. To control, the display goes dark. In other words, it is now useless to us. Which is why I swapped out a medkit for it, because we can go back here and grab a new one. Wait, just gave me... Oh. Guess it didn't count as an item? Who knows? Now then, we could go through the front door, but these guys look like they're a little more heavily armed than their friends. So we're probably going to want to go around this way through the side corridor. But first things first, let's get through here. Within this place, we should find a Fireball 2, which we cannot use. A Ruger Superhawk, which we technically could use, but we have no points in pistols, and we can't give it to Glory, so send it to the stash. A Renraku Flashbang Grenade, which could be good, but I tend to stick with just using medkits, so stash. An SCK Model 100 with Smart Link, which is an SMG that we don't have points in, so stash. HE phosphorus grenade, which I'm not going to use, and another HE phosphorus grenade. So, not a whole lot that I can use, but maybe you can find more use for it. Okay, then. Yep. Let's see, 2 mages. Looks like a shotgunner. Come on, guys. What did Max ever do to you? Seriously, these guys really have it in for that drone. I mean, that taser thing he's got is useful, but I don't know if that's worth killing the guy over. Alright, let's move over here, then we'll full out of the mage before he can become a problem. That's fine. I hope this works. No, it doesn't work. That is one change that they made in Hong Kong that I'm grateful for. It's that they show, when you have an attack that hits multiple enemies, they show you that, or it highlights the other enemy that you're hitting, if you're hitting them. Okay, good. He's down. Not going to be able to get a full auto blast from Iger, not without putting her in danger. So we're going to have to go for a Deadeye shot. Let's go for the Enforcer. It's guaranteed. That's fine. That's less fine. Idiot. And equally bigger idiot. Wow. I'm not sure who was the bigger idiot in all of those. Let's see. Do I bother with the grenade launcher? I gotta. Ooh, crit damage. Nice. Alright, that's all my stuff spent. Let's see, he's still stunned. Iger, you've got a grenade, right? Not really worth it. Ugh. Well, that was poor play on my part. Let's send Glorian and take out that mage. At the very least. Wow, you healed 3 whole damage. Okay, that one did not miss. Blitz, first and foremost, heal up Max before he kicks the bucket. Okay, definitely switch back to the Ares Alpha. Full auto this guy before he wakes up. And then this one. Glory, go for the combo attack on the Vanguard Mage. Good, that leaves him stunned. Finish him. Iger. Go for the full auto blast on the mercenary. Oof. Okay, full auto blast him. Switch over to the Colt. Full auto blast this one. Good. Good. Glory. Go for him. You at least got some of his armor. Let's get the rest with an Eviscerate. And Iger. Start shooting him. There we go. Okay then, well, with that, all that's left is to move on to the next area, and Panacea. The sounds of machinery fade behind you as you venture further underground. Whoever built this facility was clearly well financed. It must have taken years to design, excavate, and build a complex like this in secrecy. You continue through dimly lit halls, finally stepping into what appears to be another laboratory. The corridor before you is deserted. Dr. Adrian Valclair is somewhere within this facility, and with him, the answers you seek. Alright, nothing much to look at in here except for the pretty scenery of the labs. So, I highly recommend you make a quick save outside here. And let's head on through. Where we can meet the doctor himself. The old man behind the glass works feverishly as his console. Glancing up at you when he can, a cigarette dangles from his mouth. Its bluish smoke curling around his head. An overflowing ashtray sits on the lab table in front of him. The years have not been kind, but his features are instantly recognizable. Despite his age, he still has the strong chin and high cheekbones that you remember from Green Winter's DVD. This is Dr. Adrian Valclair. As you approach, he stops what he's doing, a look of intense irritation on his face. He clears his throat, and a harsh rasping sound emerges from the loudspeaker next to the glass. So, you're the Shadowrunners that Aldrin warned me about. I assume you've left a trail of corpses in your wake. And you must be Dr. Valclair. That's right. He scowls. I don't know why you insist on interfering with my work, but I assure you, that's over now. He reaches down and flips a switch. You hear a loud thud and a click behind you as the door locks shut. You'll find that the blast door behind you is sealed, and that the laboratory you occupy is fully secured. An important precaution. We keep our test subjects in there, and they are far more dangerous than you. Yeah, that remains to be seen. He takes a drag. I won't permit you to cause any further harm, Shadowrunner. You will remain trapped where you are for your own good. Now then, we can have a chat with him. With an intelligence of 7 and a biotech of 5, you can point out the flaws in his plan. And, well, continue driving home that Panacea has flaws. If you don't have that, and you didn't do the examination in the previous area, you can still convince him away from his plan, but you will need to be very careful in weaving through the dialogue trees to undermine his confidence. Doing so requires that you have watched all of Green Winter's recordings and read the terminals in the facility. Do not antagonize or insult him, remain calm and rational, then drive home the fact that his brother wouldn't support this. If you can convince him, you'll get 2 karma. And let's just say this will affect some outcomes. Let us out of here, Valclair. We need to talk. I believe I can hear you well enough from this side of the glass. Now, he fixes you with a level stare, I want to know why in the hell you've so violently interjected yourself into my business. First you break into my estate, which you didn't even know was mine, apparently. Then you spend what must have been a small fortune to track me down. You locate my AI, destroy it, then drive all the way out to the countryside, and finally you shoot your way into my laboratory. He leans forward, hands on the table, his eyes narrowed in a piercing stare. So I have to ask you, Shadowrunner, who are you, and why in God's name are you here? We came to find you, Valclair, to help us stop Feuerschwing. Except the Firewing wasn't the one after us after all. It was you all along, wasn't it? Valclair sighs, covers his face with his pale, nicotine-stained hands. To help you stop Feuerschwing. That is ironic. But yes, you are correct. I'm the one who has been hunting you. The one who sent Apex and Audrind after you. You're going to pay for that, you bastard. Why attack the Kreuzbazar, Valclair? Why kill Paul Amsel? It was necessary, to preserve the secrecy of my work, for the greater good of all. I know I have wronged you, and for this I am sorry. He sighs, a long, rattling sigh that quickly turns into a violent fit of coughing. The sound echoes over the loudspeaker. He collects himself, continues. I don't expect you to understand, nor do I have time to explain it to you. He straightens, glances back at the screen to his side, and nods curtly. Now I must know, how did you learn that I was still alive? How did you even know to look for me? Did someone send you? Let's see, said you were the only hope, brought us into this mess. We found out about you from your brother, Valclair. He was trying to find you, right up to the end. Valclair stares, and the sudden movement of his arm sends his overflowing ashtray flying from the table in a cloud of ash. A look of dread fills his face. Until the end. What do you mean? Where is Hermie? Explain yourself. I'm sorry, Doc. He was digging too deeply into Feuerschwing, so Apex killed him. He slumps into his chair next to him, his whole body shaking. I didn't... He is suddenly overcome by another fit of coughing. He steadies himself on one arm of the chair. Apex... He clutches his chest. I should have never trusted that thing. He closes his eyes, and a tear traces its way down the gaunt hollow of his cheek. Oh, Hermie, the things I've sacrificed, all for this, all for Panacea, all for tonight. Panacea, your modified virus. What's tonight, Doctor? What are you planning with Panacea? He looks up dazed, his eyes unfocused. Yes, you know about it then. Panacea is my life's work. Permanent solution to an age-old problem. Ah. Got hair on my tongue. Can't get it off. Yay. It will mean an end of the dragons. Not just Feuerschwing. All dragons. There are quite a few dragons out there, Doc. Powerful dragons. I don't think they'll support your plan. They won't have a choice in the matter. Valclair fumbles in his pockets, produces a fresh cigarette. He lights it with shaking hands and breathes in deeply. The orange glow of the cigarette flares bright. When he exhales, the words spill out with the smoke. The Firewing burned and murdered and caused untold damage in her bestial rage. Until the Dragonfall. Until I stopped her. But that destruction was merely a symptom of a greater cancer. Feuerschwing wrought destruction with fire and claw. The dragons of today, Lofweir, Dunkelzahn, Seladir, they kill and conquer with subtler tools. Deception, manipulation, corruption, he spits with disgust. They use us as pawns, playing pieces, puppets in their millennia-long machinations. Oh yes, dragons are a cancer. One that will conquer, or worse, destroy all of humanity. If we do not stop it, one that metastatized when the world awakened. An ironic metaphor since it was the failing of my own body that allowed me to see it. Let me guess, you have cancer. Late stage 2 if I had to guess. I'd say leukemia. He is racked again by violent coughing, allows it to subside, takes another long drag on his cigarette, the ash creeping closer and closer towards his mouth. Your friend is correct. I suffer from cancer of the blood, brought on by the radiation of the socks. No doubt. It was when I heard my doctor's diagnosis that I realized what I had to do, what my life's work would be in the time that I had left. I'm sorry, Hermie. I'm sorry you won't be able to see it for yourself. I'm sorry I failed you. Valclair turns his attention back to the computer, stubbing out his cigarette. He grabs a fresh one from the pack and lights it. Tonight, I will release my panacea to the world. And how absurd that the instrument of Dragonkind's destruction... He presses a button on the terminal and a large observation window at the far end of the room rises, slowly open. Will be carried by Feuerschwing herself. Through the glass, you see a prostrate form of a dragon far below. An enormous set of shackles binds it, and a maze of tubes snakes into its body. Tubes connect to a cruel-looking apparatus that has been mounted to the wall. Son of a bitch. Look at that. You found her alive in the socks after all. Tonight, the Firewing will fly again. Infected with Panacea, she will slowly be destroyed from within. But before that happens, she will provide the catalyst for global transmission of the virus. Catalyst? What catalyst? As if spurred on by the sight of the dragon below, he begins typing furiously at his terminal. Feuerschwing's fire will carry the ancient in its dormant state. Any metahumans exposed will become carriers, will spread the disease to other dragons. The carriers will be infected with Panacea as well, but it will not harm them. To non-dragons, it is a nuisance, nothing more. When a critical mass of carriers is achieved, my Panacea will become unstoppable. It will spread across the globe in a relentless tide. However, if it does not reach this critical mass, it will fizzle, die out, become inert. Hence the need for a ground zero, a flashpoint for a mass infection event. He looks to the ceiling, mumbling to himself, I'm sorry, Hermie. I know you loved your flux state, but that doesn't matter now. It must be Berlin. Hang on a second. You're going to sick the Firewing on Berlin? He continues his work, filled with a feverish energy. To save the world, yes. For Panacea to work, Berlin must burn. A sacrifice. One for the greater good. Ah, yes, the greater good, the big excuse every big bad uses to justify destroying countless lives. It is all for the greater good. Screw you and your greater good. Feuerschwing will breathe her infected fire upon Berlin. Thousands will die, and through that destruction the virus will take to the air. A critical mass of Berlin's metahuman population will be exposed, but no one will even think to quarantine the city until it's too late. The flux state lacks any centralized authority. Corporations will evacuate their own. Thousands will flee the city, infected. He mutters, his voice growing more detached. Oh yes, Hermie. Berlin is the perfect flashpoint. It wasn't supposed to happen tonight, no. But this little intervention of yours leaves us no choice. So let us see. He squints at his screen. Tonight's wind patterns dictates that ground zero will be Tempelhof-Schönberg. Highly populated, the virus will spread quickly enough from there. It's only a few kilometers from the Kreuzbazar. The Kreuzbazar? My favorite cafe is in the Kreuzbazar. Look, you're crazy and we're probably all going to die, but we are not letting you get away with this. Nonsense. You are sealed tight in that laboratory, impotent to stop me. The old man eyes his cigarette butt in his hand, fishes out another from the pack and lights it with the first. Then he returns to his console, reaching to the side for a microphone. He mutters something into receiver. You can just barely make out the sound of the name Audrin. When he turns to address you, his voice is level. The shaking in his hand seems to have subsided. Security will be here soon, and they will take care of you. Do not worry, you will not be harmed. The sacrifice that I am making tonight is a necessary evil. It cannot be helped, but so long as you remain confined, I see no reason to kill you. Now then, as you might see here, you can actually take Valclair's side. You will have to fight your own allies, but if you kill them, you get a different ending. A bad ending. It's 1 year later. You see yourself as a friend of Adrian Valclair 1 year later, and what happened if his plan is put into action? In short, the dragons are dead. His plan will succeed and the dragons are dead if you do this. But worse things are emerging to replace them. So yeah, this is arguably going to be a bad end if you do not, if you side with him, assuming you can beat your team. Let's see. You don't burn a city and call it a sacrifice. You call it what it is. Mass murder. Valclair stiffens, turning to face you. Anger washes across his face. Was it mass murder when America dropped the atomic bomb on Japan? The myopic would say yes, just as you are now. But they did it for a cause, to shorten the agony of war, to save the lives of thousands upon thousands of soldiers. I'd do the same for the good of the world. Oh, academic. You know that America was pretty divided on the morality of the act, right? Some even considered it a crime against humanity. We're not talking ethics here, we are talking parallels. What I do will prevent a greater evil from taking place. Humanity was born to reproduce, to multiply, but dragons were born to acquire, to accumulate, to hoard. Both strive to bend the world to their will. Humanity has conquered the air, land, and sea through sheer numbers. Dragons, however, employ a different means altogether. Throughout history, they have allowed us to do the heavy lifting, while they pull the strings. There are 17 great dragons in the world today, 17 ancient worms, millennia old, slowly dividing the planet into 17 piles of gold to nest upon, in front of our eyes. Once upon a time, they burned castles to steal the treasure we collected, laid waste to entire armies. But here in the sixth world, it is no longer about tooth and claw and fiery breath. The old man's voice seethes with hatred. Now it's public relations, marketing, mergers, and acquisitions. You see it every day. Dragons rot on the Tridio, in the boardrooms. They gather influence, wealth, power, continually hoarding until one of them sits atop it all. Perhaps not in this cycle of the world, perhaps not the next, but one day, one worm will stand alone, triumphant, with all of humanity as its cattle, with all the world as its prize, and that... He trembles, his voice dropping to a whisper. That I will not allow. How are you going to get the Feuerschwing to go along with this plan of yours? Oh, that? That's simple enough. He gestures to his left. She has no choice. The gaunt woman in the containment cell stands rigidly, her face pressed against the glass, her haunted yellow eyes tracking your every move. She appears frightened, disoriented, lost. Her mouth moves silently, her voice muted by her glass cage. So, the stories Green Winters found were true. Feuerschwing's astral form was separated from her body when she fell. You trapped her somehow. Yes, but that came later. In 2012, we took down Feuerschwing with an experimental weapon. This device, suffice it to say, couldn't fully predict how it would affect her. In 2036, I led a team into the socks. I had to know what really happened to the creature that I had slain. We found her alive, in a way. The dragon's astral form, her spirit you might say, had been ripped from her body by the weapon. It was trapped inside a young woman living in the socks. A mob of glowpunks revered her, treated her like a goddess. I transported the young woman and the dragon's body here where I could study them. You mean that she's been in that cell for almost 20 years? The old man nods absently. No choice. A creature separated from its astral form cannot live more than a few hours before both die. It was the high-intensity radiation of the socks, combined with the magical creature inside her, that allowed the woman to live for as long as she has. So, Valclair seems almost eager to explain, the environment within her containment chamber mirrors that of the socks. It has allowed us to keep Feuerschwing alive all these years, while her bestial shell remains chained up below. Now, as for her physical form, that will be simple as well. We've drilled a series of electrical charges directly into her skull. When we release Firewing's body, empty of her astral self, we will trigger all the various instincts and primal urges left in her reptile brain. She will unleash her fire where we command it. I'd go insane if I was trapped like that for 20 years. He shakes his head. Misplaced empathy. That beast blazed a path of fire and destruction across Germany. But no matter, I have more important things to do than to debate the morality of this with you. Feuerschwing must fly. Berlin must be sacrificed, and it must be tonight. Now where's that damned Aldrin? Look, you're not infallible, Doc. You've already made mistakes here. People died as a result. Mistakes? He uses the tip of his cigarette to gesture at the glass. So says the career criminal trapped in the containment room. I've read some of your inter-office communications. There have been a number of deaths here over the years, haven't there? He pauses. We have suffered losses, yes. They were tragic, but the people here accepted that there would be risks. They made their own choices. I won't take the blame for that. They made their own decisions. I get that they made their own decisions. But from what I was reading, it sounds like those people died from your negligence. Basic lapses in lab safety, it said. He glares at you through the glass. Is there some point that you're trying to make, or are you just trying to anger me? My point is that everyone makes mistakes, even you, and yet you want to roll the dice with a biological weapon? It will work, I'm telling you. Bet you told your safety researchers their lab would be safe too. Look how that turned out. The muscles in the corners of his mouth tighten. Why am I even talking to you? You're trapped in there, and I've still got work to do. Aldrin will be here for you soon enough. Let's see. This plan of yours killed your brother. Was it really worth it? Valclaire's fist slams into the table, sending his cigarette flying in a cascade of sparks and ash. No! Nothing can make that right. Nothing. Damn it, Hermie. Why couldn't you just let me go? Listen to reason, Valclaire. Would Hermie want you to do this? You did not know my brother, Shadowrunner. Do not presume to speak to me on his behalf. Hermie would support me in this if he knew what I would know. I've watched hours of your brother's video footage, Valclaire. I probably know him better than anyone alive, excepting yourself. His face twists into an ugly sneer. You've watched footage, and that makes you think that you know the man? You know nothing. I know that he wanted you to stop all of this years ago. He begged you to, and you promised him that you'd try. Valclaire falls silent. A wisp of smoke traces its way from the tip of the cigarette to the ceiling. She's right, Valclaire. Your brother died trying to save you. If you don't turn back from this, his death will have meant nothing. Nothing at all. That's enough. Hermie's death was a tragedy. I will not let you use it to manipulate me. Valclaire strengthens. It looks like you've touched a nerve. His entire body is trembling with fury. He takes a deep breath to calm himself. Even if you succeed at this, eliminating dragons will create a dangerous power vacuum. He laughs. A pointless argument. Any power vacuum created through dragonkind's extermination will be filled by meta-humanity. Any backlash will right itself over time. I am playing the long game, Shadowrunner, one that has played out over thousands of years. When you think on that scale, everything seems possible. Humanity will endure and the dragons will perish. There are things out there There are worse things out there than dragons, Valclaire. Exterminating one threat could open the door to another. He grinds his teeth in exasperation. Another pearl of wisdom from the Shadowrunner. The great dragons represent an incalculable threat to our survival as a species. To spare them for fear of some unknown nebulous danger would be absurd. Besides, there's nothing that is worse than a dragon. I am in a position to know. You're wrong. An astral entity told me about things that exist out there on the metaplanes. Horrifying things that we can't even hope to comprehend. He lets out a startled chuckle. What does it matter? Even if your spirit stories are true, the dragons are what threaten us now. But dragons don't exist in a vacuum. They're part of the awakened world's ecosystem, and they have been since the beginning of time. Let's agree that this is true. What does it matter? Smallpox was with us since the beginning, but I don't see anyone crying over its eradication. That's a false equivalence, Valclaire. You're an intelligent man. You know the dangers of what you're proposing. You just don't want to acknowledge them. I will not just sit back and let them take over the world. I must act. His bony hands clench into fists. I will act. You may be right, Valclaire, but this isn't the answer. Valclaire glares silently through the glass. If Hermie were here with us right now, listening to this conversation, he'd tell you to stop this. Deny it if you want, but you know that it's true. He slams his fist against the glass, his face contorted into a mask of rage and grief. How dare you presume to speak for my brother? To hell with letting you live. You're going to have front and center seats for Feuerschwing's return. I will see to it myself. You're what, Doc? For a long moment, Valclair stares at her, unmoving. Finally, his eyes flit to the ground. I'm not... If Hermie were here... Oh, God. The old man continues to stare at his feet. The blood is drained from his cheeks, leaving them sickly pale. If Hermie were here, he would not support this. He would point out the risks, the unknowns, the sacrifices, much as he always had, before he... Valclair's jaw clenches. The muscles of his throat tighten as he forces himself to swallow. He would try to stop me. You still have a chance to give him what he wanted. You can put a stop to this before more people get killed. Valclair remains silent for some time. Finally, the old man begins to speak. He sounds hollowed out, gutted. For over 40 years, I ignored the rest of the world. I ignored the media and the military, the board of directors at D-Hill, and my little brother. No, especially my little brother. I would listen to them because I knew that I was right. Or I wouldn't listen. I knew what had to be done. What they were all blind to. I was Hermie's big brother. I was the great and celebrated Dragon Slayer. I knew better. He makes a sweeping gesture, a look of contempt on his face. You see this lab? The complex you're standing in? And the plan that it was built to serve? I sacrificed everything for this. My job, my health, my family. I was prepared to sacrifice Berlin, to feed those people to the same fires that I spent my youth trying to extinguish. And all the while, Hermie was trying to tell me that I wasn't right, and I refused to listen. My refusal killed him. My little brother. The person I loved most in the world. He covers his face with a withered hand. If only I had heard him, none of this would have happened. I'll be damned. I think you've talked him out of it. The old man lets out a heavy sigh, his entire body trembling. When he recovers, he looks almost like a different man. Tired and frail. Defeated. My cure. The panacea. It isn't ready. I was ready to turn a blind eye to the flaws and deploy it anyway, but my eyes are open now, and I do not like what I see. I cannot change what has been done. I can't bring Hermie back. But I can put a stop to this. I can finally listen to what he was always trying to tell me, to what I would never hear him say. And so I shall. I know that this is a hard decision, Valclair, but it's the right one. He stares at his trembling hands, a sad smile on his face. More than 4 decades of planning, all undone in the span of a single conversation. My brother's words, delivered through the mouth of a criminal. I finally listened, Hermie. 42 years too late. Through the speakers you can hear the sound of heavy footsteps approaching. Audren. Valclair looks up at the orc. His voice trembles slightly. There's been a change of plans. No time for that, Doc. We're waking up the dragon's physical form right now. Everything is set for the procedure to begin. You should see to it. There will be no procedure, Audren. The orc pauses. You're gonna have to repeat that? The plan, my plan, is flawed. Fatally so. The dragon will not fly tonight. Audren stops in his tracks. He stares at Valclair, unblinking. This must come as a shock to you. I am sorry for that. Valclair smiles weakly. Your belief in our cause was second only to my own. The orc goes on staring at the old man for a long time, and something in his face changes. That's the way you feel? It's been an honor, Doctor. Valclair smiles weakly. The honor has been my... Yep. Yeah. By convincing him to give up his plans, Audren shoots him. If you don't, then he sides with him. Either way, you gotta fight 4 fire drakes once he releases them. The scarred orc stares at you through the glass as Valclair's body cools at his feet. His eyes are brimming with hate. You shouldn't have made me do that, asshole. The doc was like family to me. I didn't make you do anything. You murdered him. He was going to put a stop to it. The plan. You think I'd just stand by and let that happen? Good lord, this video is going on for a long time. Wasn't expecting the conversation to go on this long. He was stopping it because it won't work. It will. The dragons will die. I've seen what Panacea can do. The doc showed me tissue samples. It melted them. The dragons will die, yes, but there's no telling what else might happen. Unleashing that shit could have deadly consequences for all of us. He continues to stare at you. And? Oh, you son of a bitch. Look who's talking. For all his faults, Valclair was a hero, and now he's dead. And it's your fault. What is this all about for you, Aldrin? Why the hell are you doing this? Why am I releasing the dragon? Spreading Valclair's panacea to infect the world? Because this world is sick, Talia. Anyone with half a brain can see that. So I'm going to use the doc's wonder bug to poison it back to health. It might get better or it might die. Either would be better than it languishing like this. So you want to change the world, but you don't care what it changes into. That's insane, Aldrin. Yeah, maybe. But it'll be interesting. And I'll be the cause of it. Not a dragon, not a megacorp. Me. All by myself. Changing the world. Speaking of changes, your life is about to get a lot more exciting. Did the doc tell you that you're standing in the animal research lab? It's overflowing with test subjects. And they don't play well with others. Nasty, dangerous things. And it's well past their feeding time. He punches a button, and from the corner of the room you hear a hissing sound. Pneumatic locks sliding open. And now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a dragon to wake up. And if you're still alive when I get back, I'll put a bullet in you. If you're lucky, I might even put it in your head. Quick and clean, like your palate. Like your pal, Amsel. He pauses for a moment, considering. You probably shouldn't count on that, though. Arrogant son of a bitch. I'm gonna enjoy killing him. Oh god, this video's been going on way too long, but I can't save in the middle of battle, not to my knowledge. Maybe I can. No, wait, I can. So this video has gone on way too long. According to the counter, it's, well, 48 minutes. So I'm gonna have to end it off here for now. If you guys like what you see, please leave a like, subscribe for future content. Don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notifications for when I upload. And as for the straw poll to decide our next Let's Play, well, it's at 11 votes, but none of them were a deciding one, so I had to decide by coin flip. Tied was Prey 2017 and Bloodstained Ritual of the Night with 4 votes apiece. Yakuza 0 with 2 votes, Dragon Age Origins Awakening with 1 vote. And the coin flips, which I got 3 heads, has decided that Bloodstained Ritual of the Night will be our next Let's Play. And that's probably for the best, considering that the Zangetsu DLC has come out for it, so hey, more content for that. But yeah, if you could, please leave a comment down below this video, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching.